that stream is working. Close that and that. Okay. So that's probably just me. Oh, there it is. Perfect. Okay, I can close this out now. Okay, well, I guess we'll wait a little bit and see where this takes us, but one thing I want to do is let's head to here and we will go node-env, plugins, and node build. Let's do a git pull on this. Oh, cool. What's my version? Okay, so we could do node-env, and let's do a install list. See what I have. So we have 5.2.2 or 4.2.2. I don't want to go all the way to 5 right now because I haven't really, not doing a live coding because I haven't tried any of the packages I'm going to be using in that version, and it is a major. So let's go 4.2.2. And let's see. Okay, just making sure the I wasn't muted. So 4.2.2, and what was my node version? Okay, so we will do node-env install, and we'll go 4.2.2 and get that patch in. I hate how long this takes on the... Oh, hey, never mind. It's a lot quicker these days. My goodness. Alright, so now let's update our global to point to 4.2.2. Okay, and what's my version? Alright, and what's my version of npm? Ooh, my goodness, that is disgusting. So we will npm g or npm install g and npm. So we'll get the latest version of npm. Wow, 2.14.7. Oh, I wonder if that came down with 4.2.2. Anyway, so now we'll do npm version, and we have 3.4.1 under my 4.2.2 version of Node. Okay, so we are good. Can exit out of that, and let's jump into here. So the first thing we want to do is we'll get init, and let's do git remote, and let's do add origin, and what do we want our origin to be called? Oh, how did that feller get over there? There we go. Okay, so that's going to be this guy. Just going to throw this on git, and we'll give that what I like to call a paste.get. And now let's do git remote, and there we go. Perfect. So we got that set up. Now let's do an npm init. We're going to start this all from the beginning. Alright, so we're going to call this not JS Playground, but we'll call it, what did I call it here? Evil Playground. So we'll go Evil Playground. And we'll go 0.0.0. Description is a simple, matter of fact, why don't I just keep these all the same? Might as well, right? So we'll do another what I like to call paste, and entry point's going to be index. Test will use test, and that is the Git repository that we want. Keywords Don't really care about that. And we'll go Ian Hoffman, 1F, 2 N's. And we'll put that to evil, of course. And I think we have the ISC license. Permission, provide above copyright. Yep, this is the ISC. And we'll go yes. Okay. So now we seem to have our package.json made. Should be pretty nice. Okay, so what we're doing here, or like the whole point of this, oh perfect, it set my bugs and everything up for me too. Yay for NPM. And there is my home page. I don't have the README yet, so what the heck, we'll just leave it. Okay, and hey Adam, how are you doing today? So the whole motivation behind this is for, well, it's three things. I do a channel on YouTube. Right now I'm just doing a simple Let's Code thing, but eventually I'm about to start a kind of like a JavaScript toolbox thing. And that's basically where I just talk about, oh, he left. All right. So this is just my little sandbox for doing that in. I also set it up to where, or by myself a lot of times in meetups and things like that. We have a lot of meetups in this area. So while I'm doing those meetups, a lot of times I want to explain something or whatever. So it'd be nice to have just an area that's all set up, good to go, and I could do things in. The other thing I like to use it for, or would like to use it for, is testing new libraries and stuff when they come in. So if I find a new library or new package I want to do, I kind of want to play around with it. So this will give me that. And we're basically going to set it up to where, let's see here. No, that's not what I want. We're basically going to set it up to be able to compile ES6 using Babel, and we're also going to use Mocha for doing some tests and things like that, because a lot of times it's good to make assertions, and sometimes, like on my personal projects, I like to go ahead and say I'm using a NPM package that has broken my heart by not using Semver properly or things like that. A lot of times I will write tests against the library for certain parts of the library that I'm using. So then that way, if they break my heart again by not following Semver, then I can just upgrade to it, quickly run my specs, and check to see if it's going to break anywhere. So if everything's good, then I'll go ahead and upgrade. So a lot of times, if you don't have a lot of trust in a product, or it's not looking like they maintain it the way you would expect it to be maintained, then yeah, it's very nice to just create a spec suite against what parts of the API on that package that you're using. So this can help with doing things like that as well. So the first thing we need to do, we're basically going to do this in a couple parts. We're going to have the main code where you can play around with code. That's going to be at our, we'll call this npm start. But the first thing we need for that is, let's go ahead and npm install, and we're just install. We're just going to save and throw in, hey Canap, how's it going? So we are going to bring in, not node-env, goodness gracious, we're going to bring in nodemon, so that way we can restart our server. And since we're here anyway, let's go ahead and bring in, we'll start with nodemon, get that configured. Okay, so that's going to install. One of the things in our package.json here is we have it set up to point to an index file. So let's go ahead and add an index.js. So we have some place to launch our app from. So what we'll do here is we'll do console.log just to get the party started. We'll go console.log and we'll say here. So one thing I'm curious about is, first let's jump into this feller here and we'll add a start script. So we'll do that really easily just by doing start, word, and we'll delete to that, do it again and again, and let's throw that in to make it valid JSON. So for start, let's do nodemon, and I'm curious if it's going to just start it. I don't know if it, yeah, it does. Okay, so it takes into the account that we have an index.js in here. So we don't need to specify the index.js. So let's go ahead and make this quiet. And now we should just get here. Okay, so we have that. And now if I go in, change this file, console.log here, we'll make that there. Bam. And now it reloads with there. And we can do somewhere as well, just to make sure. Somewhere over the rainbow. So it looks like nodemon is working the way that we want. But if you look here, if we try to do import, or like destruction, or say we use a const happy is equal to true, we're probably going to get an error of some kind. Oh, I guess not. Oh, it's because of the version of Node that I'm on. It's letting me do that. But let's see, what would be... So we should be able to get away with at least const. But we don't have anything else really to import, do we? That's a real bummer. Let's go ahead and I put this everywhere. So let's go ahead and npm install Lodash, and we're going to save that because I always want Lodash available for example things like this, because it does a lot for you. Okay, so now we got Lodash in there. Let's see if the import will work without throwing an error. So we'll go import from Lodash. Give that a save, and good. An expected reserved word, because that's not going to work unless we do, I believe, use strict. Maybe that'll work. Or it might still, no, it gives the error. So for that sort of stuff, I always want to be writing in ES6. So to do that, I'm going to have to get Babel installed. So now we'll go npm I, and let's install Babel core, and we're going to be doing it through npm, so we're going to need Babel CLI, and we're going to need Babel preset, is it transform or ES 2015? I think that might be it. Let's just give this a check here. Usage, CLI. I don't really want the CLI. Let's do plugins. ES 2015. Babel preset ES 2015. Babel preset ES 2015. Okay, and that should be all we need for this. I don't really care about the runtime right now. I would if this was more of a production thing and I was compiling things for production. But again, this is just a playground, so I don't really want to put too many dependencies and whatnot in this. So this is going to take a minute. But after we get this going, I'd like to make some sort or add a colored, how do you say, watcher, not watcher, something that will do logging in color without having to do inspect and write inspect functions on each of the things that I want to actually dump. And there's a couple of good ones out there, so we'll probably be doing that. Okay, so let's see if this is going to work now. So now that we have that, we want to go ahead and execute. What do we want to execute? Babel node, or is it node Babel? Goodness gracious. Okay, it is Babel node. What did I put? Babel node. Okay. Now the other thing that we're going to need, and actually I can't do this. I gotta reload this first because I installed stuff. So let's give that a paste and so I need to set up, and I don't want to pass, I can pass like what presets to use and things like that in my command line. But with Babel, you can specify a Babel RC, but even better, I can come here and do Babel in my package.json and set up anything that I would put in my babel.rc. So this is pretty awesome, and it works great. Like when you have specs and things like that, you can just put it here and not have to worry about taking care of an additional asset or anything. So to initialize this, we need to go presets. I believe it's presets. Let me give this a little check. Plugins, and then we go ES25, and then it's presets. Okay, so we'll do presets with an array. Don't want to do that in JSON. And we are going to do ES 2015. So now this should set up my preset for that. All right, so now let's do npm run or npm start. Please don't error. Please don't error. Okay, something silly happened. And I bet it's because of the execution part. So I think now that we're doing this execute, we need to specify the actual file. So we'll give that a save. Let's give this a clear and an npm start somewhere. So now we're not getting that error. We now have Babel installed. So that was pretty easy, getting Babel there. So now we can do all kinds of our fun stuff and import things from Lodash and do all kinds of cool stuff by using our import and bits here. So I guess now that we have this running, let's df to here and let's throw in a object here. So we're going to say happy is true, because you should try to always be happy. And we're going to say awesome, and that's going to be of course. And level, we're going to say Litte, of course, 1337. And what else do we need? We need an array, of course, so let's do list, and we'll do a list of pretty, and then let's do rainbows flood. Okay, so we have pretty rainbows flood as a list, and let's put in an object here. And here we'll do a little bit of nested objects as well. You know what? I'm not a fan of doing multi-line like that, or our blocks. So let's do our object there. And let's see. So there's awesome, of course, level, pretty, blah, blah, blah. And then we'll do this. No, we don't want to do this. We want to do great. And since it's an object, let's go ahead and make that a function on here. And this will be return true. Might as well be. Okay. So we have that. Let's see how that comes up. Maybe it'll say function function. Yep, function, and then a function called great. So that's good. We have that. We have that. Now let's do another object. So we'll put another object so we can see what nested objects look like. And here we'll put great, and we'll put true here just as an actual property. And let's do that. So that should get us a little something something to log with. So over here it's not that pretty. When I'm showing things off on my YouTube channel and things like that, I don't want all of this to get lost, so I would like to color code that stuff. So looking around the past couple days and whatnot, thinking about how I'm going to do this, I came across this. Now I'm a little bummed about it because the last update to it was 2014. It looks like there are, where's the issues? So there's 9 issues. Um, they only have 3 closed. So it doesn't seem very active, but it does have a lot of stars, is the thing. And I guess the other thing with this is it's pretty gosh darn small for what it is. It's only 267 lines with a lot of comments, and it's very well written. So to be honest, I don't mind taking the risk with this because if something is broken, I can just go ahead and fork it and do what I want to do. So I'm not going to let the inactivity for the value of this. I think it's something that I'm going to use anyway. But typically that's how I go and look at things. I look at the activity, how many commits, how many PRs were requested. See, there's 7 PRs that are open. There's some that have been open since 2011 that haven't been addressed or closed out or anything. So it doesn't seem very community driven. But okay, so we're going to do this. What is it? Is it just eyes? I forgot. Hold on. Package.json, and it's just eyes. All right, so we'll come over here and let's do npm install again, and we're going to save eyes to our deps. Okay, all right, and no errors or anything, so it's not that bad. Usually you'd expect some sort of error or something. So let's just get this going. So to do eyes, we're going to go ahead and make a lib folder here, and we'll call this log.js. And this is what we're going to use for doing all of our logging. So here, let's go ahead and import eyes from eyes. Okay, and here we'll export default. And always we want to match whatever, always want to try to record or do a function and always name that function if you can for your export default the same as your file. Okay, so here we want to take some arguments. Now here we want to take some arguments. With a logger we have a variable amount of arguments typically. Okay, so it looks like this inspect, which is what we're going to be using, it takes 2, me and you. It takes 2 of these parameters, and it looks like this is your label is over here as the second parameter, and this is the first parameter. I don't know why they did that, but what I'm going to do is reverse that. So we'll only take 2 parameters, but I'm going to have my function bring in the label first, and then the actual value that we want to log. So yeah, that's what we'll do. All right, so let's do, since we got to reverse it, that is a function or something best done by a string or an array. Since we have our rest operator, we can, instead of using the array-like argument for the arguments, we can go ahead and just get a rest on all arguments, and that's going to put our arguments in an actual array and not an array type object. So that's what we're going to do. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. So we need to call inspect. So let's go ahead, and now that we have that in, we'll do const, and we'll do inspect, and actually let's just do this, eyes, and we will pull that out of there, inspect. So now we have our inspect bit, and actually we could probably one-liner this since it's only one thing so far that we're pulling out. There we go. Okay, so we want to do inspect on that. So now with inspect, we need to put something in there. If we only have one argument passed in, that means we're not putting a label, and a reverse of one element is still going to be that element. So we don't really want to return anything. So we do inspect. How are we going to do this? So we can do, let's see here. Let's do inspect. And we'll do args.reverse. Okay. All right. So let's see what that gets us. So now let's do import log from, and we'll go lib log, lib and let log. Okay, let's see if that errors. Please don't error. Please don't be an error. Don't think that errored. So now we can come back and delete all of that, save that, and of course now we get an error. Of course we do. Cannot convert undefined or null to object. Interesting. That's a real bummer, huh? Let's see, what am I doing wrong? Is it this? Can't be that. Nope, something else. Okay, so where are we doing this? This is on eyes for each function. Maybe we don't have inspect. Oh, what's going on? What's going on? Okay. Interesting. Inspect. So let's do a little what I like to call console.log eyes. And let's see if this is the culprit here. Maybe it's something in there. Of course it is. Okay, so we have eyes in there. And where's that true coming from? Alright, let's see what inspect is. Okay, inspect is a function. Okay. What the heck, man? So let's see what happens if we just pass args. And we'll just do a spread on that. Maybe I'm doing something silly. Okay. Is this something with my log data? I think it should be pretty good. Let's go ahead and do this. Nope. Nopedy nope nope. Okay, so let's do this. Oh man, this is awesome. Now we'll console.log args. Maybe it's something to do, maybe I have to bind the inspect. Maybe that's what's going on. Maybe I shouldn't get so cute with the destructuring. I might need to actually do a bind or something on that. So let's get rid of this. We'll go to DD. And isn't there a way, how do you do custom stuff? So let's actually do this. Because I do want custom bits. So let's go const inspect is equal to, and we'll go eyes dot inspector, and think that's all we need, right? So now what happens when we, oops, I think that should be good. Now what happens when we do this? Okay, perfect. Sorry, it was just I started getting clever with that destructuring. My bad. Okie dokie, slokey pokey jokey. We have that. Now let's see what happens when we put a label in there, because remember I want the label first. So we will do data. Data, we don't have enough data. Okay, so yeah, that's what's happening. It needs to be reversed faux show. So I think I should be able to come over here and just do dot reverse, run that, and that should reverse and then spread. Yep, there we go. So data is happy, true, and all that. So one thing I do want to do is override these styles. And that's what this little inspector thing is for. So if I do styles, I think, so those are the styles. Okay, so it looks like I can supply, yep, styles and then all and all that. So let's do styles. And here we want to do all. I don't really like the cyan or the blue color there. So what we're going to do is just make that gray. And I think it uses that spelling. Oh. Oh, it's overriding all my other ones. Why is it overriding all my other ones? Does it do it or is it just for gray? Huh. Well, one thing I know I want is labeled to be yellow. Man, am I going to have to write all of these? Are you serious right now? You can overwrite them with your own by passing a similar object. Man, I don't want to copy all these. I like some of them. I like some of them. Shoot. Alright, let's jump into lib eyes. Oh. There's the defaults, and it's on eyes? What? Actually, oops. Let's inspect. Huh? Go ahead and use this feller. Let's go ahead and inspect. What are we going to inspect? We're going to inspect eyes.defaults. Is it default? Defaults, plural. Pretty true. There's a stream. There's all the styles. So I bet you I can grab those styles, huh? What do you think of that? So let's do const, and we'll go styles. And styles is going to be equal to object.assign. And we'll go ahead and make a new object. And we want to default and grab eyes.defaults. And then we want our own styles after that. So that's going to be, is it defaults? No, it's default styles. Defaults styles. What? Okay. Yeah. Beautiful. And then let's just take these and we'll paste those there. Do one of these. So now all should be green, but everything else should be okay, right? And then here we'll just do 2DD and we can just do styles. And that will assign styles to the styles key. Look at that. Everything's green. Ha! I'm so smart. Okay, so it looks like strings are green. I want strings to be red. So let's do, oh, this is awesome. Okay, so let's do strings. Or is it just string? It says label. I wonder if it's plural. It's got to be plural or singular, I think. Oh. Except I need that to be red. That was a great test there, Ian. Oh, okay, that worked. Okay, so now all of our we want all to be gray. Okay, so now they don't stand out, right? Like we don't really care about those. It looks like they're still bold, but let's go ahead and make the keys. Is it key? It's key. So we'll go key. And we don't want the keys to be yellow. Let's make the keys cyan. Let's see what that looks like. That'll look pretty cool. That way all of our punctuation and all that's hidden. So that looks pretty good. Let's make the booleans green. Bool is green. Okay. That's good. Functions will be gray. Integers are purple. That's okay. I like that. Or maybe we could make those blue. What if we make... Oh, you know what else I don't have on here? I don't have a regex. So let's do a regex, and we'll go tickles. We'll search for tickles. Let's see what regex comes in as. Oh, some people like to use commas. I happen to be one of those people, apparently. So that comes in as green. I would like that to be purple as well. Actually, let's make it red so it matches the string. We'll make that red. Now let's do a purple. Is there a purple color? Piggity purple. Magenta. What's magenta look like? Magenta. Magenta. Yeah, isn't this exciting? Sitting here watching me make stupid colors. Well, at least you're there, Canva. I appreciate that. So, is this just regex? Regex. What is this? Alright, and we'll do that. BX. So now the thing that's cool about this is when I'm explaining something like at a meetup, or I'm explaining something inside of... Cool. And then what if we made numbers blue? What if we made numbers blue? If I'm inside of, or if I'm at a meetup, you know what? I think those numbers are fine the way they are. Yeah, those numbers are fine. Or if I'm doing a video or silly things like that, it's very nice to have real colored and detailed dumps so you can explain the stuff you're dumping and things like that. So this is getting me what I want. So now we have the login, we have the environment set up for Node.env. So it's reloading every time that we change our code. We have the logging in. Now the next thing we need to do is add Mocha and Chai, because also as a playground you're going to want to write no, I don't need this. When you're having a playground and things, sometimes it's nice to have just a test suite handy so you can make assertions about maybe the software you're working on or things like that. It's just pretty good times. So, okay, so we are about halfway done and a half hour into this. So that works out pretty darn nicely. Let's check the channel, make sure I am still going strong. Okay. Oh, goodness. Man, what a jerk I am. I didn't even see it going through. Sorry about that, guys. I thought it was only you. Alright, so we'll do... Oh, the whole thing locked up. Isn't that adorable? Alright. Wow, it's not even letting me jump out of there. That's cute as heck. Okay. Sorry, did you guys have any questions? Yeah. Now, I had the channel going. It was doing alright. Yeah. Yeah, totally. Well, I mean, you can, but it's not really set up for a server. Maybe, uh, like what I like to use for my server stuff or for my front end stuff, and this is my own personal thing, is this Simply Evil JS thing that I made. It's basically, it'll do pretty much everything you need for front end. It sets up browser sync, so that way you have browser sync going. It does Karma with, goodness gracious, Mocha and Chai, I believe. No, I think I'm keeping it at Jasmine. So it uses Jasmine because I'm using Webpack and there's an issue with sign-in in Webpack. So I have to stick with Jasmine for now. But it also does less for CSS, and then I added a bunch of mix-ins and things like that for less. So like you could have good colors and things like that that are based off the better web colors from this repo here. A grid, it's got a simple little grid, just something to get you started. And now this is pretty much system agnostic. So I mean, you can't really use it with Ember because it doesn't work with the Ember build system. But for pretty much any other thing out there, you have it does Babel, ES6, and all that. All you do is get into your entry point here, and it just works. So this is what I use for my front end stuff. But this one's mostly for back end. I usually use it for back end for the most part. Man, I can't believe the chat wasn't working. So let me reconnect. Was there questions up here? Don't know. Thanks for the thanks. Man, so sorry. All right, just checking. Got that working. For what is this eyes? Oh, eyes is basically gets us this inspect here. It basically lets me output in this pretty color, so that way like all my strings are red, things like that. It makes it easier when I'm playing around with stuff. I like the color in my terminal. I think it's super duper fun. So that's what I'm bringing eyes in for. What else was there, man? Hey, how's it going? Yeah. Now with that clone, Adam, the thing that's cool with that is it's more of a template than an actual thing. I mean, if you want to maintain it, you can clone it down. But what I typically do with it is I clone it down and then I immediately kill off my Git folder and start a new Git project, because it's supposed to be, it's not really a Git project. It's more of something you would want to clone or fork or things like. I mean, you can fork it, but you basically want to start a project on it. So yeah, exactly, a starter. It's just a starter template. So I usually just clone it down, then I kill off or I remove with recursive force the Git thing. So anyway, that's how I typically use it. It's fun. Right now it's upgraded. I do have some nasty stuff in there. Like I'm using, if you look here in my app object, I'm not a fan of classes. I don't use classes usually, or I try to avoid object-oriented code in my JavaScript. I feel there's no place for it in the world, in JavaScript's world anyway. So this I'm refactoring into a more functional approach. But I just threw that up there because I needed it to work with some old thing I was working on. So this will be changed probably in a PR coming up to probably Friday. I can probably get it done by then. So anyway, sorry. Let's get on with the Mocha. So for this little thing, I like to test stuff with Mocha. For the back end stuff, Jasmine's really good for front end, but it just doesn't, in my opinion, work very well with back end stuff. It doesn't have a lot of utilities or stuff that I like to use, like for setting up watches and things like that. You always got to bring in something else to do it. So let's see here. We'll go ahead and npm I, and actually let me turn the sound on this so I can make sure I hear you guys. Yeah, I know. Thanks, Adam. I think me and then another colleague at work are the only ones that agree with you on that. I've always, and I spent my time, I love object-oriented programming, love it. I've done it for 12 years, but it doesn't seem to have a place in JavaScript. I'm always writing construction and stuff around it to try to fake things, so I don't know. Makes me really, really sad. When I see a bunch of object-oriented code out there. I'm like, oh no, you could have done this so easy, my friend. So we're going to go ahead and install save, and we're going to do Mocha, and we're going to do Chai. Now there's a lot of things that get Mocha to play with Chai and Chai to do this and things to run. There's like all these bridge apps, but the way I use my NPM system, I pretty much don't want to bring any of those in because they kind of limit how I can work with them. So we're just going to bring these in like this, and we're going to start setting up the test stuff. So we also want to write our specs in ES6, so we're going to use the compiler for that. And let's just see here, where is the folder I need to put mocha.optus? Mocha.optus. So that needs to go in test. I don't, it's funny. I've been in the habit, I don't think I'm going to do this in test. I've been in the habit lately. I like putting my tests in the same folders as my actual functionality that's there. I find that doing that in Node, or even if I'm doing it in Webpack or things like that, it avoids the recursive hell that you get into. And with regex runners and stuff, it's pretty neat. So I like to do like index.spec.js or things like that and put it in the same file. I don't know. We'll see how that goes, but I'm not going to do this test folder for this, and we'll give that a shot and see what happens. So to do this, we're going to add what I like to call mocha.ops, and we'll just get this going. So for our test now, we want to run Mocha. And for anyone that missed it, I like to set up my Babel instead of putting it in a babel.rc. With Babel, you can actually drop whatever you would put in your babel.rc inside of the Babel key in your package JSON. It's just a little thing I like to do. So we'll delete to that and do it again and again. And then here we want to call Mocha. And what is it for the path? Let's do options. Okay, now there should be a way to do the ops path. It's just dash dash ops. So we're going to do dash dash ops, and let's do mocha.ops. Let's see if that errors. I know it's going to error, but I want to see why. Cannot resolve path for pattern. How do you do that? Do I just do this? Nope. What is it? Let's see. I know there's a way to point it to the... Really? You don't give me that? I wish you would give me that. I don't want to put it in a test folder. You know what? For now, just to keep this moving along, I'm going to put it in a test folder. At least I'll just put that in there. I don't want to have you guys watch me do stupid stuff. Well, we'll run out of time for the fun stuff. And that's supposed to be under tests, right? Yeah, the other thing that people find annoying about me is I'm very test. I do documentation instead of tutorials. If I did like a blog, it would probably tell me exactly what I need to do there. But hey, whatever. So we'll delete this for now, and we're just going to put our config stuff in here. So we don't need this ops thing anymore. We'll delete to that. Mocha should be able to run. And then here we will do UIBD. I know that's the default, but I like to specify it. BDD, you silly. Okay, what are some other ones we want? We don't want that. We don't want to require should or any of that, because it is going to be going through the compiler. Alright, so I need to see how to do the compiler here. Oh my goodness gracious. Let's do options. Maybe that's where it is. Nope. Nope. Where's the usage? They had a... Is it API? No. There's options. There's that. Where the heck is that? There it is. Setup. Okay, so we'll do Mocha. Mocha. Okay, so then... And it's that. So we just need this here, and I think that's where that is in Babel Core. So now this will use our Babel Core. Let's just make sure. Babel Core. And where is that? Register. There it is, register. Okay, cool. So that is where it is. Beautiful, beautiful. They're in this transition phase right now on the Babel site. You'll notice since they moved to 6.0, some of these haven't been changed yet. So they would say like Babel register or things like that. Oh yeah, here it is. Here's the warning. So make sure that whatever you're doing, that you might need to dig a little deeper if you can't get it to work right now. They're in a time of transition. So one of the things that's neat about this, now this should work. What do we do with our path? Is there a way to set the path, or do they just go in that test thing? Any questions so far? Okay. Hey, what's up, Chicken Skill? I used you in some test data, by the way, the other day. Yeah, it was fun. I credited you though, so, but that's an amazing name still. Okay, so now we have those. We're just going to throw our tests all up in this piece here. And we'll do test. Yeah, heck yeah. It's a great name. Cool name, that's for sure. One of my favorites so far that I've ran into on here. So we have that, we have that. Now let's just do index.spec.js. And here we need to bring chai in. I know you can do require up here, but I don't like it with, I like being very explicit about stuff. So we'll import chai from chai. And what do we need from chai? What do we need from chai? From expect, we need to pull out expect. So let's do that with destructuring. We'll do constant from chai, and we will grab expect. I like the expect interface. I find it very fun and exciting. So now we'll do describe, and let's do a smoke test. And here we will do, and I know that you can do arrow functions and things, but sometimes it makes sense to use this in a test. So if you start using arrow functions and things, you lose the ability of binding this context to the same context as your test suite. So typically I'll still use anonymous functions instead of arrow functions or lambda functions when doing it this way. Okay, so here we need to expect. What do we want to expect? We want to expect true to be true. Why not? Now let's see how bad this breaks. 0 passing. Oh, that's because I probably did not set up my... Oh, goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. So we have that, we have that. How do you do the directory? It's recursive, isn't it? So now we do recursive. Oh, yeah, you know, words that I should probably know how to spell, being a gosh darn programmer. Goodness gracious. Some people. All right, so we'll have that. Let's see what that does. 0 passing. Do I need to set it up? Where do I need to set it up? Okay, so now we will just do Mocha, and let's do tests, or test. Cute. It can't be the index.spec, is it? Well, this is just horrible. Horrible, deplorable. Oh, you know what it is? Gosh, I'm so silly. Let's see if someone spotted it. Nope. It's I didn't add an it clause. Goodness gracious. All right, so what does it do now? It reports true for true. That's a very valid test, right? So we'll do another anonymous function, and then here we'll do this. Bring this back, hit a little DD there, and give it a riggedy run again. There we go. So it likes it clauses, of course. Oh, it seems to pick it up as long as I hit the folder. I'm actually going to take that spec off of there. Let me do that now. I only put the spec in if it's going to be in the same folder. So when I move it over to the same folder, we'll do that. And actually, let's call this test.js. Okay. Now it still should pick it up. There we go. Perfect. All right. Also, yes, but if you got utils or stuff and you don't want to include. Yeah. Yeah, totally. 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 Okay. So I got that. Now, let me show you a cool little trick. I'm sure all of you know this. This is kind of a beginner aspect of Node, so I mean this is all pretty easy stuff. But one of the cool things about using npm build systems like this, instead of going for like a grunt or a gulp, well, I mean you still can go for a grunt or a gulp and do all this, but a neat little trick you can do with these is, let's go ahead and delete to here. I can use, if I'm using npm 2 or greater, and let's just make sure what version of npm I'm on. Bam, 3.4.1. I updated that at the beginning of this. watch. So now I can do npm run test, and then if I do this double dash, it's going to take any options outside of this double dash and pass them inside to the operator, to the command on the left. So if I want to do watch and just set the watch up, I can do it like that. Now if I do npm run ruin, that's what I do to things. I ruin them. So we'll do test watch. Now I have the watch running. So, and you can do that with npm 2 or greater. So that's really fun. Everyone loves that. Well, a lot of people love that. So if I'm doing this, I could add in maybe another thing, and let's do it reparts false for false. And then we'll let it fail, of course. Oops. That's going to pass. We'll let it fail, of course. Oh, there's an assertion error, my goodness. And we want that to be false, and that will then be figgity false, like a big dog. So cool. Now we got our watches going. Okay. Yep. So yeah, it's pretty neat. And I use this because I mostly do NPM. The only time I'll ever use a grunt or a gulp or one of those systems like that is whenever I am doing, what do you say, like something for Windows. I mean, Grunt and Gulp are cool, especially if you're doing like a Angular app or one of those types of systems. Um, it works very well with that. They have a lot of neat little plugins and things. But really, for most of my stuff, I can just get away with NPM. Unless I need it on Windows, because you can't do POSIX commands very easily without them having to add stuff to their system. And if they want to get with the program and start implementing against POSIX like everyone else in the world, then it will just work. So anyway, the thing that's neat about this, let me show you something. Let me show you something. No one's going to get that. If I come into here and do console.log this, let's see if this is like Jasmine. Oh, interesting. Very interesting. So it is going to be recursive. Oh, never mind. I guess this doesn't matter in this. In Jasmine it matters. You use a lot of it. So typically here where I would do like, say I'm testing an app, so maybe I'll do let app and let some mock or whatever if I'm doing stupid object-oriented programming and I need to mock all my objects out for integration. A lot of times in Jasmine, you would just set this to this. So it would be this.app, and that'll get added to Jasmine's bit. So if you need to assign it in your before eaches and things like that, you could do it that way. So anyway, it looks like this is all pretty much what I need for now. This gives me everything I need. So if I'm at a meetup and I'm saying ridiculous statements to people, or say someone is like, oh, you know what? I really want to understand how to do functional composition with promises. And I can be like, well, it's more of a sequence, but I'll show you what you can do. Or little things like that. I can pull this down and I can just open up, this feller here. Open this guy up and then show him a quick example on how to do or how to use promises for a sequence or doing functional composition or something like that. Also, you can use this for testing npm and little things like that, like npm packages and whatnot. So it's pretty dope, pretty awesome. Let's see what's dirty here. Is any questions? Yes, but if you got tills or stuff, cool piping the. Oh man. Okay. Okay. All right. So It looks like we finished just in time. My hour is up. So let's go ahead and let's GD real quick. Let's git add everything. And then we'll GD against master, but it's not going to let me because I'm on master. So now let's git commit all and say add logger node mon babel and Mocha chai. Okay, so this is our initial commit. All right, so now let's git push origin master. Hopefully that bit being on there isn't going to screw me. Oh, crapperdoodle. That's a real bummer. I grabbed and added the, all right, so git remote and what is it? Remove, how do you remove a remote? How ridiculous is that? Okay, and it is RM, that's what I thought. Well, it's not what I thought, it's what I was guessing. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to, my hour's pretty much up, so I'm going to go ahead and get this set up with my SSH. I actually did it against HTTPS instead of SSH, so I need to get it to work over SSH. So give me about 15-20 minutes and I'll have that feller uploaded, and it'll be here. Let me throw this in the Chickadee chat. So this is where it's going to be if you want to pull it down and give it what I like to call a play. And then for Adam, here is the simply evil.js bit there. So awesome. I got one more stream coming up. It says November 25th, but oh, no problem. Thank you. Thanks for joining me. I got another one coming up. It says December 25th, but it's actually tomorrow, about same time, 7 o'clock, and that's where we'll be redoing my SQL, or what is that, GraphQL. I'm working on a GraphQL backend, so we're going to pick that up and finish doing all the permission stuff. So should be a blast. If you're around tomorrow night, stop by. I'll be around doing my thing. Have a good one, Chicken Skill. You too, Adam, and everyone else. Is there any names here of the peeps I know? Oh, wow. Looks like we got a lot of non-participants watching. That's pretty cool. Yeah, if you're watching and you're not a participant, you should join up. It's pretty neat. It's pretty fun. Anyway, have a wonderful day, and I will talk at you guys later.